to America's Mayor live from Palm Beach, back from New York. The rally that we'll talk about a little later being attacked because they can't attack it for anything else, for being a Nazi rally. It actually is the strongest rally on a national level for the state of Israel this year. There's nothing comparable that the Democrat Party has done with the number of speakers supporting the state of Israel and attacking Hamas. You can't even compare. So we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a little while. But what I want to do is continue what I was on before, and I'll lay out on the map the states that were reported um, on a group of polls that came out today and yesterday from different places. So let's get them all together here. We've got this group, and then we have the others, which are right here. Okay. So we begin with let's begin with Arizona. Arizona has, if you look at the map there, it's right now even, but Arizona is 48-46 according to the Redfield and Wilson poll. It's 50-49 according to the Marist poll, and Arizona is, let's see, let me get it right here. Arizona is, we're trying to find it here. Arizona has Trump leading 48-46 in the Trafalgar poll, which, as I say, is a Democratic poll. So I think that one we can pretty simply move over to Trump, which gets him to 225 electoral votes. The next state that we have listed here is Georgia. Now, Georgia will go with the Trafalgar poll first, and that is a Democrat-leaning poll, and it is Democrat here. It's 48-46 Harris. Trump is leading in the R and W poll, the Redfield and Wilson poll, 48-47, but he's tied in the Marist poll at 49. Now, just based on the map and the numbers we have, we would have to say, against my will, that it remains too close to call. I see no way in which Trump doesn't carry it. So let's look at Pennsylvania next, because that's sort of one of the biggest ones, right? So in Pennsylvania, Trump is at 42-40 with the Hispanic vote, which is going to give you a sense of, and I don't think this a little dust up with the stupid remark by the stupid comedian, which Marco Rubio dealt with really beautifully, is going to make a difference. According to the polling of Trafalgar, that state is now, Trump is up by half a percentage point on the polling average and 48-47 in the Keystone State poll. He's also ahead in the other polls, 49-48, that's Emerson College, and 50-49 in the Marshall College poll. So that gives him the state, leaning, and that puts him at 244 Republican votes. Then if we move on to Michigan, Ted's state, Michigan is a dead heat in the Senate battle, which is a big. And at this point, Trump is up 48-47 in the insider advantage. They're even in the RNW. And Harris is up 49-46 in the Quinnipiac. Would I have to call that even? or can I say Trump on that one? Well, I'm going to play it straight, and I'm going to call it even at this point, because you got one poll one way, one poll another way, and a tie, very much like Georgia. Now let's get to Nevada, which is going to surprise everybody. It's going to surprise the whole world, actually. Nevada is, Nevada's going to go to Trump. He's up 47-46. He is down 49-48, but he's also up in another poll in Nevada. So I would say that Nevada is for Trump. Which gets him to 250. And now we got North Carolina left. North Carolina, he's leading in every poll. So that gets him, if we leave Michigan and Georgia where they are, at 266 for him, 241 for the Democrats. Now, what I think is going to happen is really Georgia's going to go his way and Michigan's going to go his way, and he'll have at least 297 votes. So that's Rudy's prediction as of today. You should also know that the three races in northern America, the tripart Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania states, that always vote the same. 4 years ago for Biden, 8 years ago for Trump, 12 years ago for Obama. Two of them, I'm very comfortable, are going to flip Republican on the Senate side. I think that Casey may already be ahead. I think Rogers is even, having come back. I think the third one, for Hovde and is it Slotkin, is going to be closer. But yes, the answer is yes. I think they're going to pick up those three seats. And when you add it to Montana, which is out there, see, I'm playing around with it all. There's Montana. When you add it to Montana, where I think they're gonna knock out somebody who shouldn't have been there forever, and you take a look at West Virginia, well, that gets you to 51-49, just those two. So, and now the map did a couple of strange things here. We'll have to straighten it out to get you a real number. There we are. That's right. Yep.
So, Mayor, as you look at the map now, and we've been talking about this for weeks at this point, so what we just talked about was what the Democrats and the media refers to as the big blue wall. That's Wisconsin.
Well, the only way she can win, if what I think is going to happen, which I've now put up on the board, okay, 313 to 225, she's got to take. What does she have of the ones that are left? What is the easiest one for her to take? I think Michigan, Ted.
Out of those three?
No, out of four.
What's
Pennsylvania, Ohio, Wisconsin. No, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, and Georgia.
Okay, so out of those five,
yeah,
you would say Georgia is the safest?
No, I would say the easiest for her to take.
Oh, for her,
Nevada, Michigan.
Oh, you would say Michigan. Okay, you really all right? You're high on Nevada. Well,
I'm going to make Nevada.
I'm going to defer to you. You're the expert.
I'm gonna go to Nevada next. That's the other one she can take.
Okay. So Michigan. Okay. I don't want to be biased here. Wisconsin. You think we have a better shot you think she has a better shot in Michigan than Wisconsin?
Stronger in Wisconsin than Michigan because essentially Wisconsin is more Republican.
And you know what? You're right. In 2016, wasn't it? Michigan was the tightest.
Right.
Wisconsin was second.
Michigan.
And so for Hillary in 16, if she were to win one more state, it would have been Michigan, right?
Yeah.
And then after that, it would have been Wisconsin. After that, Pennsylvania. So you're spot on, Mayor. That's exactly how it went in 16. So
I think Georgia,
go with you on that.
I think Georgia and North Carolina are no chance. Arizona's no chance. So of the states left that are up, There are only two, really, Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. She got to get one of those and even if she gets just Wisconsin, she loses. Look, he wins 280. So what it really means is what they've been saying forever. She's got to win all three. She's got to win all three, and Pennsylvania is critical to it for her to win. And if she wins Pennsylvania, but she blows Michigan and she blows Wisconsin, Trump is the president. So Trump.
Interesting.
So here's the difference. Trump has about 4 ways to win, and she has 1. So I think Roger is right. He's on his way to winning, and we may be on our way to a big illegal.
They're going to be the ones that
doing what they claimed falsely we did last time.
Only they'll do it. Unlike us, where we were looking to go within the Constitution to do it, right? That's the whole point about 2020.
Well, they're the ones who burned.
Literally trying to do it within the Constitution, try to solve real concerns about voter fraud.
They're the ones.
Constitution.
They're the ones who burned buildings down, not us.
Yeah.
January 6th, nobody burned a building down. All during the summer of 2020, they burned every building down they could find.
They took down police precincts.
They were even burning this summer. I mean, they burn. They like to burn, shoot, and kill. I mean, during 2020, they killed 26 people. We didn't kill anybody.
And
they killed us. They killed.
The stand-down orders made it easier for them, too. From de Blasio.
First-degree murder, Ashley Babbitt, never solved. Got to be solved now. Well, Pete Navarro got out of jail a few weeks ago after having been put in leg irons. I was going to ask Roger, what was it like to have the Gestapo show up at your door to arrest you for a so-called crime, white collar at best, with machine guns? But yeah, it felt like being in Nazi Germany. That's what it felt like. My good friend Steve, who I've communicated with already, is out of prison and ready to. We'll talk a little later. I'm going to be on his show on Thursday. I'm looking forward to getting him on here. And he's got to do a lot of talking, got to make up for 4 months of their shutting his mouth, which is the reason they put him in jail. That's the reason they put Navarro in jail. And it's the reason they want to put me away for the rest of my life. I know what they're up to. I know exactly what they're up to. They don't fool us. We're too smart for them. And we're going to take a short break. And we're going to be right back. And we're going to be rolling toward the election.
We're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
If he does anything, I'm very Italian. I'm very Italian.
Welcome back. We're live on the show.
I was just explaining I'm very Italian. And I defend the honor of women to the death.
Good thing we have
I also defend the honor of women sports. Get the damn perverted men out.
Well, good thing your whole team are a bunch of stand-up, classy guys, Mayor.
Any man who wants to go in the ladies' room, I do not trust. And I don't care if he says he's trans, bi, boop, or bop. You got one of those, you stay out of the men's room, pal. I don't even know. They'd have to have impeached me to enforce one of those laws in New York. Tampon Tim. I do not understand this, and you guys are fooling around too much. And maybe you can help me on this, dear. Explain to me, how we're living in this age of men competing in women's sports and boxing. Boxing.
Day men are very feminine, to be honest.
Very what?
Very feminine, to be honest. No, it's a common topic among girls my age. Like when we go on dates, men are very feminine. Aside from them competing in women's sports,
Yeah.
that's a common topic nowadays as well.
Well, I don't think Republican men are.
No, not Republican men, but definitely in Democrat cities like New York. It's lots of women run into that nowadays. Yes, yes. Like
So-
men paint their nails now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
They dye their hair blonde.
That all is very, very bad, particularly for the military.
Yeah. I think it's a problem. I think more men should enlist in it.
Wonder how Patton would have reacted if they wanted a drag queen to come in and give a lecture to his army. Can you imagine Patton reacting to that? General Patton, the president has decided that several drag queens are going to come and give a lecture to your army before you march across France to save us because we're getting the hell kicked out of us at the Battle of the Bulge. Patton would say, I don't think it'd really help their morale. And then if they showed up, I don't think he would do violence to them, but I think he'd send them to the wrong part of France. And there'd be plenty of parts of France that would love him, right? I mean, drag queens have been popular in France long before the U.S. This is great. We're adopting all of the things in the old world. Fabulous. And they call it progressive. They actually call it progressive that we're retrogressing to communism. Communism is 150 years old. The guy who invented is dead. He was a Satanist. He's a pedophile. He was not, oh God, so they say in Italian, nuts. Marx. You want him to be the father of your ideology, Karl Marx? Wow. Man, oh man.
But Paulina made a really good point, Mayor, and then you expounded on that, right? Where it's almost like the younger generation has become more feminine. I'm only 33 years old, right? I'm 15 years out of high school, if that.
Yeah.
And I feel that way about the younger generation. And what is this guy for the Chicago Bears? Caleb Williams, the kid paints his nails.
With the Chicago Bears, and they let him do it in the clubhouse?
Quarterback in the NFL, and the guy's painting his nails.
Yeah, it's very common today. And there's a saying though. It says good times create weak men, and weak men create strong women. And then, hopefully the men will follow the women's lead. Aside from Kamala Harris, of course.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing that gets me too. Every time I see Kamala, and then I saw her with the turncoat, Mary Chingy.
Who are we talking about?
Mary Chunkop.
Who are we talking
Cheney. Mary Cheney. I saw her with Mary Cheney. No, not Mary Cheney. What's her name?
Liz Cheney?
Oh, Lynn
Are
Cheney.
you talking about Dick Cheney's daughter, who has now all of a sudden become this
You know what?
today's left?
I think she went a little crazy because I think accidentally he shot her in the head.
Don't go hunting with Dick Cheney, please. If you love, if
You want a
love
real
the one who's
You
supposed
want
to
a real
hunt-
match? Walz and Cheney.
No,
Walz.
Walz can't even load the damn shotgun. What's the guy doing? I mean, look,
And the Secret Service agent girl who was taking care of Trump.
Yeah.
oh, the gun in the holster. That's right.
Why do they have her? She's 4'2". Trump is 6 foot, almost 6'3". She can't even guard his knees. When I was in charge of Reagan's security and had to write a report on it, and he was a big guy, a little shorter than Trump, believe it or not, but about the same height, about 6'2". Trump was probably 6'2 and a half. Everybody was 6'3". The agent, I mean, not everybody. The key agents, his body guys. Here's the idea. You don't see the face. So do you remember when they pulled him up right away? What's the first thing you see? You see it. What I see, because I was trained in this, is a target. I see a target. I say to myself, what the F are you doing? What are you doing? Could be another shooter out there. You just gave him a target to shoot at. Who trained you? The people that want to get him killed? I mean, it's ridiculous. They don't close it down even though there's a suspect there for an hour and 15 minutes and they can't find him. They don't cover a building that your 12-year-old kid sitting there with you would say, how come there's nobody on top of that building? Right? They don't circulate the information from the police. They don't circulate it. I never heard of that. They don't have a meeting beforehand to plan it. We used to have thousands of meetings to plan presidential visits. I put my police commissioners on to tell you that. Now, the guy who did it is the only guy in modern America who has no history. We don't know anything about him. He was never online. He never wrote anything. He never said anything. He never had any friends. He never had expressed any ideas. Never traveled.
Totally scrubbed.
Or could it be that the group that's investigating it, that tried to frame Trump for Russian collusion, that withheld the hard drive for 9 months while Trump was being illegally impeached for something he didn't do that they could have proved. And then Biden was winning the election under false pretenses, accusing Trump and me of being Russian agents. FBI had validated it 9 months earlier. Fat Barr was sitting on it under his ass. He took it and he stuck it under his fat ass so you couldn't find it. And nobody wants to ask him, hey, Barr, how come you didn't bring out the hard drive? It was conclusive evidence. How about a statement from Hunter before the election? For 30 years, I gave half my salary to my father. You think maybe that would have defeated the demented one? I think so. How about adding up the receipts, 21 million from Red China? How about Hunter saying, I'm partners with the spy chief of China? The president's son is partners with the spy chief of China. Even before we get to Biden getting the money, you think we would have impeached and thrown John Kennedy or Ronald Reagan out of the White House if their son was a partner with the spy chief of Russia? You're damn right we would. We might have even hung him. That's when we had an America that worried about America. That's when we had an America to have a president who sold out to China. It is beyond doubt that he sold out to China. When he gave the Bagram Air Base to China, that's all you needed to know. There's no person in their sound mind that would give China an air base 400 miles away that we had. 400 miles away. And not only just a cheap old air base, one we had just made it the best one in Asia with the largest runway. Oh, just for the hell of it, it was also 400 miles from Iran, our other enemy, and 500 miles from Russia, our other enemy. But of course, he did get millions from Russia, too. Let's not make that same mistake again, huh? Let's not make that mistake again.
China, I read an article yesterday about Tampon Tim. When he was in China was teaching, he had a relationship with a woman whose father was very high up in the CCP.
Oh, of course, but every Democrat does.
Yeah.
Right? Don't they all have a Chinese spy that they're screwing?
Yeah.
Where's Fang Fang?
Fang, I mean, he just joins Fang Fang.
That's right.
Well, what about Dianne Feinstein's 19-year driver?
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
And she was on the Intelligence Committee. She never came out and talked about things in the car. And best of all is Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden was in a $20 million partnership with two of the chief spies in China. And for a year and a half, he passed every day all of the documents that his father stole, most of which related to China. You don't think he was sending those to China? Of course he was. And those creeps are getting away with it. They're selling out our country left and right, and the media is letting them get away with it. You want to hear something weird? I don't believe it's true. Muslims now prefer Trump to Harris. And 70% of Muslims voted for Bush before 2001. It changed 4 years later after September 11th to 70% for Kerry.
Sorry, what was it in 2000?
In 2000, 70% of Muslims voted for Bush.
That's interesting.
In 2004, 70% voted for Kerry.
Yep.
So now we get a little more current. 86% of Muslims voted for Barack Obama,
Okay, not surprised.
compared to 95% of black voters. So almost as solid as black voters.
And this isn't a joke. I mean, his middle name, Barack Hussein Obama. So I'm not surprised that he did even better than Kerry in 04. So the shift must be now. It'd be interesting to see what happened in 16, Mayor, with Hillary Clinton.
So according to these analyses, and I'm not sure they're correct, Trump is ahead with the based on the Arab News YouGov poll, 45-43, with the Arab vote. This could include, remember, this could include Christians that might be denominated like Lebanese Christians, or like the group in Michigan that's very pro-Trump.
Chaldean. I'm trying
the Chaldean.
The Chaldean. Those are Catholics from Iraq.
Yeah, who were killed by
during the Iraq-Iran war.
Yeah,
a lot of them came over here, and you're right. Their family lost everything. They were killed, and so
and
what a
Lebanese
great
Christians were killed for being Catholics.
That's right. And so in Michigan, really good point, Mayor. Among the Arab population, a good percentage are Christian, and so there's obviously a big distinction between Muslim and being
a
Arab.
bunch of Muslims who are smart enough to know that this whole Hamas thing, this whole Hezbollah thing is just a loser. All it means is destruction in the long run.
For everybody.
Yeah. I mean, if Trump is going to win, and what they should be trying to do is modernize the Muslim religion, read out all that stuff that Muhammad put in about killing Jews and killing Christians, read out all those stories about how he mass killed Jewish villages, and say it was another time, another place. We're way beyond that now. We understand each other a lot better. And that's never going to happen again. And we can move on. I mean, there are Muslim countries like that. I think it's Oman. They allow synagogues. They even have Jewish people in the government. So it's not impossible. Jordan has made peace with Israel. Egypt has made peace with Israel. Those are two very, very big Arab Muslim countries. Saudi Arabia would. I believe this invasion by Hamas was to break up a Saudi-Israeli alliance.
That makes sense.
Yeah, to absolutely break it up.
That's interesting. In Michigan and Pennsylvania, this will be critical.
So the Trump vote, it's only 2%, but it's still. I mean, that could make a big difference in your state, Ted.
Specifically in Michigan. And I've always thought this idea that the Democrat Party and the Kamala campaign were trying to suck up to this
Do you
vote.
think they feel sucked up to?
Yeah.
If that's a word?
Absolutely not. That's the other thing.
No. I had a feeling when we were there, even talking to two different groups that they felt exploited by Biden.
Yes.
That here he is,
Yeah.
always a supporter of Israel. Now he's turning on Israel for 200,000, Arab votes. Well, if he's going to turn on Israel, he can turn on us.
Bingo.
And then her, same thing. So I think there might be also, because I didn't think they'd vote for Trump. I thought they'd stay home. But I think if I got exploited like that, I'd never vote for the person. It's like when somebody is a traitor to my enemy, yeah. I don't hire them because they'll be a traitor to me too.
And I also think the Democrat Party, and this is what they do with identity politics. These guys, these folks in DC, they look at Michigan and the Arab vote, and they think of these guys as something that they're not. A lot of these guys from Dearborn, I know them. They're smoking hookah in the garage, watching the Detroit Lions. Right? They're as American as they can be. And so,
Smoking
yeah.
hookah. in the-
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah. That's like, you know what hookah is? You know
No,
hookah.
I don't
Mayor.
know what hookah is.
Oh, it's like God, tobacco, but it's
They
tobacco.
ruined all my cigar stores with that vape bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah. But a hookah is kind of like smoking tobacco, but it's not, I don't think you'd like it.
I know I wouldn't like it.
But it's tobacco. It's nothing. It's not a drug or anything.
I haven't smoked a cigar in this show in a long time.
Whoa. What? If we did it outside tonight, how about after the show?
Tuesday night?
A week.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
we're a
A
week.
week from
Just
tonight.
think, a week from right now. Some of the polls close at 8. Is that right, Ryan?
It's-
Or it's 8 or 9? No, 8 o'clock.
Except I'm not going to do it when I think he won, because I would have smoked one 4 years ago. When they told me he was up by 800,000 in Pennsylvania, Newt and I hugged each other, and Newt told Dr. Maria, "You've seen history. The re-election of Donald Trump." What do we know about politics? We underestimated. We were also told by several mathematicians, when it got down to 750, I got a little nervous, and a mathematician said to us, "Mathematically impossible to change the vote in Pennsylvania." I did say, "You never met the people in Philadelphia."
Yeah.
I mean, they fix
You
election
can laugh. It's so
for
true.
fun.
For
I
fun.
mean, they literally, like New York, when they have a like runaway election that they can't lose, they cheat anyway to stay in practice.
No.
Because if you don't cheat, you don't stay in practice. They bring in all the people from Camden, New Jersey. They bring them over the bridge. I thought if I were the governor one time of Pennsylvania, I'd close the bridge on election day, see what happens.
Can you? Yeah.
Like I did.
Close the GW Bridge on election day. See how many voters.
Somebody tried that and got ruined, right?
Chris Christie. Why
I
did you
know
shut
who-
the bridge, Chris?
The-
Chris Christie was on his way. Why did you shut the bridge?
The diminutive, understated Chris Christie. I hate Trump. He didn't appoint me. I wanted to be Attorney General.
AG Christie. He ran the president's 2016 transition, right? For a minute.
We got thrown off because everybody in the White House was going to be from New Jersey, and half of them. And in New Jersey, you can't have 100 people without having 50 that were in jail. I mean, in politics, not the people in it.
Oh, we love the people in New Jersey.
There was a time in New Jersey. I think it was before I was U.S. attorney, when I was in the U.S. attorney's office, and we used to actually go around trying to figure out. It was getting real close where every Democratic mayor in New Jersey had been indicted. Almost every. I mean, man, you talk about corruption. Wait until we try to win that state. Ooh. You know what I'm happy about? I'm willing to make a call that Casey's going to get knocked off.
Which we got to have our election.
And McCormick.
A bell or something. When you're ready to make a call, we got to push a button.
No,
hold on.
I'm willing to say we're 51-49 in the Senate, and that'll be Montana and West Virginia. But I think we got Pennsylvania.
I got to get a.
And I think your friend Rogers is going to take Hovde. Is going to take Michigan, and Hovde and the other one are even right now. That one we'll keep looking at.
Hold on a second. So the mayor, we got to have a. All right, we'll do that for later. We're gonna institute a new sound for when you're ready to make a call.
Okay.
So your call tonight. You're willing to say it, Mayor. Casey is going down in that Senate race, Pennsylvania.
Goodbye, Casey.
Dave McCormick's gonna pull it off.
Goodbye, Casey.
Wow, I like that call. I
Goodbye,
like
Casey.
that call a lot.
Tomorrow night, we'll look into Michigan and Wisconsin a little bit more carefully.
Maybe we'll make a call.
Can I pick on Tampon Tim now?
Oh my goodness, please. We only got
I have a
a
whole
week
bunch-
left with
I
that.
have a
guy.
whole bunch of stuff on Tampon. First, there was this article, just a little piece saying, was Tampon Kamala's worst decision? I thought her worst decision was getting into politics, something she knows nothing about, or taking the border czar, which she knows nothing about. How about last week, Walz decided to attack Elon And he yells out, Elon's on that stage, jumping around, skipping around like a dipshit. Nice words. Then recently, he slapped J.D. Vance for being a venture capitalist. J.D. Vance is a venture capitalist. And then they asked him, what's a venture capitalist? He said he didn't know. He doesn't know that he's what a venture capitalist does, but it's bad. Yeah. I love about when you couldn't load the gun. He's supposed to be a professional hunter. But worse than that, he was in the National Guard for all that time. This is why I now know the reason he punked out on going into action and is described as a coward by his minister, who said he left his troops because he wouldn't go in action. They saw him load a gun and they told him not to come. Fetterman said, you load a gun like that and my life is going to depend on you, Tim? Now, I guess.
Hey, we got to be nice. We like Fetterman a little bit now. We like him a little bit.
Now, the one you brought up before, that's the one I really like. Tim Walz had a love affair with the daughter of a Chinese. You can't make these guys go get involved with communists. I don't get it. Bernie Sanders went on his honeymoon to Russia. Who the hell did go on that
Talk
honeymoon?
about that one.
De Blasio went on his honeymoon to Cuba.
Crazy.
Cuba, and he worked for the Sandinistas. Oh, absolutely. He was working against us with the Sandinistas. And his mother was a communist. Mother was a communist at Harvard. I mean, really. Like when they used to have the cards.
What's his real last name again, de Blasio? Wilhelm.
Frederick Feinrich, something like that.
Wait, really?
Wilhelm
Yeah.
Feinrich. Maybe Wilhelm or Wilhelm.
Yeah.
Wilhelm or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a double name.
Bizarre.
Wilhelm. And then
That's like Beto story right there.
I have to admit, though, the problem, his father actually fought in the war. His father was actually injured in the war. He probably had PTSD and committed suicide. And his father and mother was split. Probably his father split with his mother because his mother was a communist. She was an a very rare group in Boston. Sacco and Vanzetti emerged from that group, but Italian communists who came from northern Italy. And they had a big cell in Boston. His mother was one of them, card carrying, and eventually Harvard couldn't promote her because she was a communist, and she wouldn't disavow being a communist. So she brought a dummy up as a communist. Now it didn't matter really much because he was a terrible mayor, but he was so stupid and lazy he couldn't effectuate most of what he wanted to do. But he did lead the city council in that direction. So this guy. Now they don't point out how he got to China. He got out of school and he got recruited. Got recruited by Harvard. Got recruited by Harvard in a program paid for by Red China to go get trained in China. What does that sound like? Several people in that program have gone to jail for being spies in Tampon's program. So he gets instructed. He gets instructed there, and while he's there, where he can't remember if he was there during Tiananmen Square or not, which is hard to believe, since if you were there during Tiananmen Square, I'm sorry, you wouldn't forget it. Just about everybody was killed. So he's absolutely lying. He wasn't there during Tiananmen Square. It's another one of his Biden-like boasts because he's a pathological liar. But he did go there. He did spend a year and a half getting trained there with the head of the local Communist Party's daughter. The head of the local Communist Party was the labor leader in the town, and the head of the party, Bin Hui. And he fell in love with Ms. Hui, and he proposed marriage to her. Except apparently it was one of these like military things. He proposed marriage to her, but much like in the opera Madame Butterfly, he never intended to marry poor Ms. Hui. And when it was time to go, he just said, bye. And then she started writing to him. I thought you were going to marry me. You told me you were going to marry me. Now she says his lack of character as a man, a responsible person who had worked in education or the military, he doesn't have character and he shouldn't be a vice president of anything. I thought he also loved me.
Yeah, that's another reason. That's another reason he can't be vice president.
So his first girlfriend says he's a dishonorable man, and his minister says he's a coward, and Kamala Harris picked him to be VP. Good, Kamala. And never bothering to ask him questions like that first program with Harvard. By chance, was that a program that was grooming you to be a red Chinese influencer in the United States? Oh, and those two businesses you're talking about during the debate, who put the money in for it? The red Chinese? And when you made the 30 trips there, who paid for them? The red Chinese? Oh, and Mr. Walz, you always claim that you spoke out against Chinese, this, that, and the other thing. If you spoke out against Chinese, this, that, and the other thing, how the hell did you get reinvited 30 times without them killing you? They did everybody else. I only got invited twice, and when I objected to Taiwan, they never invited me back. They never paid me any money. Now, the mere fact that you won't answer those questions, Tim, as a former prosecutor, just leads me to the conclusion that the answers are very bad answers. So we haven't got a country to worry about. You apparently don't. We do. So I got to assume the worst for the protection of my country. You're a communist. I don't know. I think you are. I mean, why would you say something like one man's socialism is another man's neighborliness? Differences, neighborliness never killed 100 million people. Socialism did. And you know who would say that? First, when I heard you say that, I just, you look like you're a dope. So I thought you were just a big dope. Then it turns out somebody who was trained to sell us communist propaganda would say that, right? That may be you. And you told us what a wonderful country it is and how you had your best vacation there. I don't know anybody who had their best vacation in China. People are running out of China every day. You got the best vacation there. But really, the most important thing is 30 years, who paid? How much are you into the red Chinese? You can't be, don't be embarrassed. It can't be as much as Biden. You can get another communist, another one owned by China. Jeez. And then you saw what a dope he is when he debated with Vance. My goodness. Lies about his military service.
You got to remember when this started, Mayor, they tried to paint J.D. Vance as the weird one.
He called weird.
He's the most regular guy ever to run for office.
He called Trump and Vance weird, right? And this guy was originally painted as the head football coach that won state championships. He was never a head football coach. He was an assistant coach. And he couldn't have had too much time to be a football coach because he was also at the same time the head of the gay association that he organized in his high school and the head of Take the Kids to Brainwash Them in China organization, which he did 30 times. It's a lot of times to go to China and run a football team. Jeez, I don't think Belichick did that, right? Or Vince Lombardi. Oh, yeah, Vince Lombardi would go to China to go to atheistic communists. He went to mass every day.
Vince Lombardi, an Italian New Yorker.
And a very good Catholic who hated communism with a passion, as you should if you're a Christian, a Jew, a Muslim, or you believe in God. Marx, two main goals: get rid of God, get rid of the parents. All this stuff about trans this, trans that, the training in schools, the books in schools, got nothing to do with that. It's got to do with the communist infiltration of the teachers union back in the 1930s. The Communist Party started the teachers union. Not all unions were started by the communists, but they got control of the teachers union. They got control of the agenda. And our children are trained when they get in their hands to be little Marxists. And they're trained to criticize the United States, to find everything wrong with us and everything right with everybody else, which is the way Marx destroys a country. The Cultural Revolution was to China what the burning of our statues and the knocking down of our statues is to America, what 1619 was to America, changing our history, what burning the flag is to America, or kneeling during the national anthem. All of it meant to get you to hate your country. And the Chinese revolted and they got killed. Thousands and thousands and thousands. And Tampon Tim got married on the anniversary of that day when all those people were killed. He and wifey seemed to really like it. This is the wifey after the little Chinese girl that he left, like Cho-Cho-san. Do you know who Cho-Cho-san is? Does anyone? This happened to Cho-Cho-san many years ago. She got left by an American, but that American at least was not a traitor. He was just a cad.
Yeah, I'm not aware of the story. I don't.
His name was Lieutenant
A,
B.F. Pinkerton. With the opera Madame Butterfly
okay.
by Giacomo Puccini.
The number one man when it comes to opera, right here. We still haven't gone. We still haven't gone to New York.
There's an opera like this, except Walz can't sing or anything. 41 of 45 looters in Pinellas County who were looting from the hurricane survivors. You got to be like the lowest of the low to be looting from hurricane survivors. Well, these were Biden-Harris invitees brought into this country illegally without any vetting. This could very well be the ones that Trump talks about when he says they were let out of the prisons and the jails. So 163 of 196 that will court have so far been identified as illegals, recent illegals, Biden-Harris invitees, as I said. Altogether, they identified about 1,600 illegals. They couldn't make cases against all of them, but they did something very smart because the Pinellas County sheriff is considerably smarter than Harris, Biden, Tampon Tim, or any of them. He threw them out of the county, and he told them if they ever came back, he's going to put them in jail. And you say, well, what authority did he have to do it? The badge, right here. I own the jail. I'll put you in the jail. Have one of your communist lawyers from Washington come down and get you out. See how nicely treated they are in Pinellas County. It'll be like my cousin Vinny. But I doubt my cousin Vinny would represent you because my cousin Vinny is a patriot and he doesn't represent illegal immigrants. Well, just so we keep you up to date on this, because Ted and I brought this to your attention originally, how many of these people are criminals because they were covering it up. In another part of Florida, in Volusia County, they arrested another illegal for rape.
They got it on video.
Oh my goodness, that's right. It was just released.
Screaming female with his genitals exposed. Nice man. This guy is a Mexican, which is a little unusual. The Mexicans usually aren't causing the trouble. It tends to be the Venezuelans and the.
Get off her now. Help me. Get off her now.
Give us the channel.
Thank God. Thank you. Don't you fucking move. Don't you fucking move.
Come here, dear. Come here. You're good. 21 says to clear the channel. Come here. We're good. We're here. We're here. We're here. We're here. We're here.
Thank you. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus.
We got a male secure.
He took your baby.
Copy of Florida tag, please.
Oh, thank you.
We have enough of this problem of our own. We have to import it. Biden and Harris have to bring us into this country because what? Because they want to have a Democratic vote. They've registered about 20 to 27% of these people illegally. One of their dumb congresswomen said, well, I don't really like this very much, but I need it for my redistricting numbers. I need women to get raped for my redistricting numbers. I need children to be put into a life of servitude for my political career. Who in their right mind could be for open borders, except people who have a nefarious purpose? You gotta be evil to be for open borders. You can't have a country with open borders. You surely can't have a country like ours that's built on shared values, because the people coming in, we have no idea if they share our values. In fact, we know that many of them don't. When President Trump says that a lot of them come from prisons and jails and insane asylums, this isn't based on his speculation. This is based on the people that have been captured, and it's based on historical precedent. Maduro is a student of Castro. Castro did this in 1978 and 1979. When Jimmy Carter, a person who's still alive, and God bless him, I mean, he was a weak president, but the advent of Obama and Biden got him off the hook because he loved the United States. They don't. He said something without thinking. He said, send me everybody from Cuba. He was trying to point out how bad communism was. Actually, it was a good motive. He just didn't think out what he said. And Castro was working at twice the IQ. So Castro said, oh, Jimmy, little peanut farmer, you want Cubans? I'll send you Cubans, babes. You know what I'll do? I'll send you 100,000 really terrific Cubans who are the best Cubans you'll ever get. And then I'll empty out my jails, my prisons, my insane asylums, and my criminally insane. I'll send you 30,000 of those. See what you're going to do with those. It changed Miami in about 4 months from a quiet little summer place that was becoming heavily Jewish to the crime capital of America for about 2 years. Murder everywhere. And that's just when I became Associate Attorney General. And we couldn't even get a U.S. attorney that wanted to go there. And I had to go down there and do 2 jobs. So I handled the Mariel boat lift. I handled the Haitian 100,000 a month boat lift, and the rest of crime. And the Haitian boat lift, we came up with a solution like Remain in Mexico, was Remain in Port-au-Prince. We stuck a Coast Guard cutter there. And when they came out, we grabbed them. We put them on a Coast Guard cutter. We saw if they were entitled to asylum. If they were, we took them. If not, we returned them. Only about 5% are entitled to, by the way. And that's true of the group in the United States right now. We're doing all this. We're letting them all come in. We're putting them all on parole. We're letting them come back 5 years from now, which means we lose them. And about 5% of them are really entitled to asylum. We're not doing it for that reason. We're doing it for 3 reasons. To change the redistricting, to register them as voters so they can continue to cheat in voting, because they're starting to lose their natural constituency, meaning the crooked upper echelon of the Democratic Party. And we're doing it because they want to destroy America. They want to take away our language. They want to take away our culture. It's the Cultural Revolution. We shouldn't have one language. After all, I mean, people from all over the world should be able to come here. But we're not a country from all over the world. We're America. There's something very unique about us. And it turns on, as Abraham Lincoln said, our fierce belief that we have rights given to us by God that can't be taken away by government. And if you don't agree with those rights, you don't belong here. Lincoln used to say that. What was he, a xenophobe? Israel, if the reports are correct, have just taken out the entire Iranian air defense system in a day and a half. What that means is you could, if they're right, you could bomb them with impunity. How about we do it? When are we going to stop this march toward the Ayatollah having nuclear weapons? So you realize the nightmare of my hero, Ronald Reagan, which was a madman having control of nuclear weapons. I don't know what the sickness of Obama and Biden and Harris is with Iran and their friendship with Iran. or the fact that they give them so much money. I don't care what it is. It's anti-American. It's treasonous. Obama should be in jail for the last 4 years for money laundering when he was sending cash to the Ayatollah. That money was used to kill Americans, Obama. Do you think anybody should have any respect for you if you got Americans killed? And maybe the reason why you, Biden, objected to the death of Soleimani, who used that money to kill Americans. How could you object to the death of somebody who murdered so many Americans if there's not something deeply wrong with your attachment to this country? Well, Israel, unfortunately, took your advice. And it can't be Demented Joe. It's got to be one of the people around him. There's got to be a little group behind the curtain for the Wizard of Oz that makes the decisions. I don't know. Maybe Brennan is back. Boy, that was a sick puppy. Definitely Obama, but he won't be there all the time because he's so damn lazy. Soros' son lives in the White House now, and he's going out with Huma Abba Booba Baba, whose father was very, very partial to Islamic terrorists. And then you got the whole Iranian spy group that remains in the Defense Department, including Ms. Tabatabai, who is definitely an Iranian spy working for us. So these are the people that are advising you to give a lot more money to Iran than anybody else. So you've given Israel $14 billion. You've given Zelensky, who is controlled by some of the worst criminals in the world, $160 billion. And you've given Iran $100 billion. So who's our friend? Iran is, in case you want to check, they are devoted to the destruction of the state of Israel. Israel's our ally. We gave him $100 million to destroy Israel. That make any sense to you? Or does it sound like we are double crosses? Sounds like we're double crosses.
Right.
Iran went ahead and is about to execute, I don't know if they did it already, an American today. He was an Iranian dissident, meaning he was opposed to the Ayatollah's regime. His family disputes the charges. He got a secret trial, probably fairer than the ones that Trump got in New York, which means he didn't get a fair trial. And they also accused him of disclosing classified information about Iran's missile sites during a television program in 2017. For that, we should give him the Nobel Peace Prize for disclosing Iran's nuclear sites so that a madman can't have nuclear weapons. We execute this guy. We don't fight to have this guy released. He tried to stop a madman from getting nuclear weapons. We are doing everything we can to facilitate a madman getting nuclear weapons. Do you see something wrong with that picture? If you do, go vote tomorrow, please, for Donald Trump. It's the only way, it is the only way that we are going to be able to solve this problem. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back, and I have to see what the Yankees are doing. Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster, and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee. Oh, here. We ready?
Yep. And we're back.
I may have a tough time continuing with the rest of this show. I just found out the Yankees are losing 2-1. We lost 4-0 to the Dodgers in 1963. I was at college then. I almost quit college, went into the monastery. I thought the world had just changed completely. You see, I grew up with every October, we just beat the Dodgers. No matter what, we just beat them. I mean, we've played them 11 times in the World Series. We're 8-3. Now we're going to be 8-4 with this left coast silly team with a bunch of silly fans who applaud like this. I'm not even sure California should be part of America. I'd make a trade. I'd make a trade for certain parts of Canada. You know, you got that cowboy part of Canada, right? Where they have the stampede. They got a lot of oil too. They're rich. You know, California is just a big drag on everybody now. I mean, they cost the country a fortune. They cost themselves a fortune. Everybody's moving out. And I would also, once we get rid of them, I wouldn't allow them to move because I don't want them to ruin Texas. And I mean, they were trained under people like Newsom who think it's okay to make it a crime to ask for identification. Don't you think that's crazy? Oh, please identify yourself. Yes, everyone knows you.
Actually voted yesterday, so I'm very, very excited to talk about that.
And
Ryan Rhodes. I voted last week because I've been on the road. I'm going to be on the road for the entire election, running around, making sure people are getting out the vote for Donald Trump.
God bless
The
you.
canvassers with other people we're training to get out and make sure that we're racking those votes up in these swing states.
So I want to know how you think you're doing.
I actually had an op-ed come out today with the Blaze, and I think we're doing great. We are out there. I got to give full credit to Elon and the Trump campaign. They have really gone up and upped the ground game. There were some little spots at the start, but they're like, we're going with the best of the best. They have so many people on the ground. They're hitting so many areas, registering so many people. The targeting is just really, really something we've just never seen. They're doing testing. In districts that we haven't done before. So it's very, very impressive what's going on. And I think you're seeing that in the early vote numbers in Pennsylvania, in Wisconsin, in Arizona, in even New Jersey. I mean, and that there's limited amount there, but so I think Trump is just taking this over the top, and that ground game is right there to have hit its stride at the.
That's very interesting because, the press, and maybe this is a good example of how you can actually use the left-wing press and just read it the way Ronald Reagan did and believe the opposite. Because the left-wing press has our ground game, meaning Trump's, is much weaker than the Democratic ground game. Now, when we were in Georgia this weekend, we were very impressed. And they had three or four different groups, which usually means chaos, but they were working together.
Yeah.
And they had a little bit different disciplines, but they were working together in this suburb of Georgia to get out the maximum vote. And this is a place that's Republican that doesn't maximum vote.
So what we're seeing right now is Elon hired some people and he got rid of certain other people. He's shed the groups as well as he goes, okay, these people got paid. They didn't fully do. And then what he's done as well with America PAC is gone and said, okay, well, now we got the best people on the ground. We're going to pick these people we saw were good, and the other ones, they're out. Okay.
Good.
And so that's awesome. And then the campaign has gone out and been working with them and going out and had an absolutely great volunteer effort and everything else. So it's shaky at the start, maybe very, very hard charging when it needed to be. So they sat there. And in the past, we used to be like, oh, well, there were some bad things going on. And nobody ever tried to fix anything. They looked at this time and said, oh no, well, that person's bad. They're out. We're putting the right person.
Sounds like Trump, huh?
Yeah, sounds like Trump, right? Like, this is perfect.
You're fired.
You're gone. And so they really started zoning in. And I'm impressed with what's going on and how everything is going in. And we're on the ground in different states. Like we're working, like everybody who's doing the right thing is out there in some capacity, whether you're the leader, whether you're the subcontractor or whatever. Like, you're going out there and you're fighting, and they're getting rid of the grass.
Oh, wait a second. We're being attacked here. We're being attacked by the board.
Put the map back on.
Put the map back on. All right.
So Mayor, Ryan, how many doors did you and your companies knock on in 2022?
We did almost 2 million doors in 2022.
You hear that, Mayor? Almost 2 million doors.
2 million doors. And now?
And now we're a little less than that, but like about 1.5 million right now.
Okay.
But everyone's at the table.
Does that continue through election day?
It will all continue through election day. There's all kinds of different efforts. Some of them are congressional. Some of them are with PACs, and some of them just everything is broken down. But yes, everybody's going in. We're running to the finish line, and that's like a drop in the bucket compared to all of everything that's going on across the board.
Okay.
There's tens of millions of doors going on across the country that are really, really making a difference.
Well, that really is impressive. And where did you vote? Where did you vote?
I voted before I headed to New York for the Madison Square Garden, and then Madison Square Garden, and Philadelphia teams, and then back down here. So
you voted in Philadelphia?
No, I voted in Iowa.
Oh, okay. And Paulina, where did you vote?
In Florida, in Wellington,
Mhm.
actually yesterday evening. It's truly an amazing momentum that's hitting the ground. Like, to see it on Sunday, everybody in New York City, all the thousands and thousands of people. It's surreal, because I remember being out there in a MAGA hat in 2016 on right when he won the election. I was like one of the few ones, but I remember it was such a melting pot. The group, it was Americans all united together, working with the construction hacks, the Trump flags, every so the Democrats like to do a lot of identity politics, right? Every type of American was there that night and in 2016, and to see what happened on Sunday, to see tens of thousands of people Americans be so much braver, it was completely surreal.
Yeah, and the
magical.
the lack of protest
Yeah.
was amazing. I don't think anything ever takes place in New York without a protest. And there were some protesters, but they were like in a handful.
I think there was just too many. There was too many of us, and so they kept going over. They're like, "Well, we're out."
They really
this
think
time.
They really believe that January 6th stuff.
Successful energy.
Not true.
To have people like Elon speak, I mean, such creative minds, successful minds, and American minds. Like, it doesn't matter what you look like. Democrats like to divide us based upon our exterior and what we look like. But to be on the right, it really embraces free thought. And it doesn't matter what you look like. You have to be a creative thinker. And that's what's happening. Creative people are being creative, and successful people and brave people are being united. And we're all American.
Yeah. I mean, that's the old Lincoln connection, right? The best American is the one who believes in America the most, not who's here the longest.
History.
The one who.
Yeah, and the Democrats were the party of slavery. They don't like teach that in school anymore.
I'm going to ask you a question and see what you all think about this. I have a big cause. My cause is to require the Democrat Party to change its name. If they want to change names and get rid of Columbus and get rid of Washington and start taking the Cleveland Indians and make them the name of a prophylactic, the Cleveland Guardians, or things like that. Shouldn't they have to change the name of the party? Their party was the worst of all. I mean, Jefferson and slavery. Jefferson actually wanted to end slavery, he just didn't know how to do it. The Democrat Party never wanted to end slavery. They were the party of slavery. They caused a civil war over it.
So many people, especially
They are now too. In,
yeah,
in their crooked cities.
mentally they keep people stuck on welfare and all these types of things like Section 8. All these that's the modern day slavery. And if you go to New York City, you still, but
Why are you forget that?
people are really waking up. And I read an article
That's why.
that Steve Bannon said that in prison, the men, specifically Hispanic and Black men, detest Kamala. They do not like Kamala. That's quote unquote what he said. They detest her. And it's really it's really interesting too. If you see Michelle Obama, Big Mike, and Obama himself, and they have Beyonce going out there trying to pander and get the Black vote based upon exterior appearance. That's not okay. And people are really waking up to this. First of all, Kamala isn't even Black, but they really think people are dumb. And I think that's the most anti-American thing. And that's the most racist thing the Democrat Party is doing today. That groupthink, identity politics. It's not okay. It's not okay. And, people are very awake. They're free thinkers.
Generally, it wouldn't make a difference if she was Black or she wasn't Black, but the only reason she is where she is because she's Black. So if she wasn't Black, it would really be a fraud. Remember, I'm not talking about DA or whatever. Biden had limited his selection of vice president to something like 9% of the population. He said, I have to have a woman and she has to be Black. That's 7 to 9% of our population. So 91, 92, 93% of eligible Americans were excluded from vice president. So if that wasn't the criteria on which she was selected, if she was selected on merit, it wouldn't matter what. But if there's any doubt about that, then she gained it on false pretenses. But I mean, I don't think it's worth it, nor do we have time to figure out if she's Black or not.
She's not even a successful person. She's a career puppet politician.
It's much better.
Yeah, 100%. And
You can prove that.
yeah, and it's just a very low energy, low vibration stance she has. To be honest, I've seen a lot of videos online. Aside from what people look like, they like to divide us based upon that. But we're all American at the end of the day. But it's very interesting to watch those videos because she's married to a white man herself, Kamala Harris. So to have them divide,
Oh, he's my. I'm according to
so
the press. He should be my image of masculinity.
yeah.
I have to change.
So who is Obama?
I have to change. I have to change. I always thought that, for example, one of the signs of masculinity is men don't hit women.
Yeah.
But now that Doug Emhoff is my image, I have to go around hitting women.
Yeah.
Right? Or I'm too old now. My children are grown up, but when I was a kid, I should have been knocking up my nanny.
Oh my God.
So Ashley,
Hi.
tell us,
everyone.
remind everyone where you're from and where you're voting.
Okay. So my name is Ashley Wilson. I will be voting in Florida, which I'm super excited to do. Yes, first time for Florida, so it's super exciting. I grew up in New Jersey, and I left New Jersey during the scamdemic when everything was shut down, including my work. I'm a registered nurse, so I was working at a extremely busy outpatient surgical center, and they basically decided to shut everything down, force unemployment on us. And, during this time, in hindsight, I think it kind of backfired on them because while everyone was at home, we did get online and we did communicate with each other and we started doing research, and it gave me a lot of freedom to research everything, basically. I mean, with the internet these days and YouTube, you can learn anything you want so quickly and easily. And when you want to figure out something, you just Google YouTube tutorial and you can learn anything. There's kids these days who are, super, super young, and they're giving ratings on toys, and they're so successful, getting millions and millions of views, and earning such high income. It's just so impressive. I just believe the entire school system is so antiquated. Textbooks, it is truly. I mean, when I think back to nursing school, it wasn't that long ago. Yes, yes, and just to force students to read these antiquated textbooks where majority of them, you know, they say you have to trust the science and the experts. There's zero evidence-based research. It's a bunch of, basically baloney that the doctors and all those people, they are just indoctrinated with it.
That at 4 months, a fetus embryo feels pain,
Absolutely.
and
The mo-
and therefore should we crush it and suck it out?
no.
And is it going to feel that pain when it happens? We worry about, and I mean, I put myself to sleep at night sometime watching dog rescue videos. Rocky Kanaka, I love Rocky. The guy who goes into the guy who goes into the cells, what do you call them, kennels, and he sits with the president. He sits with no. He picks the dogs that sit in the back of the cell because he says the ones that get adopted are the ones that come up to the screen and they're barking. But the ones that don't get adopted are the ones that are sitting in the back because they've been abused, they've been abandoned, they've been beaten, and they're sitting back there like that. So he goes in, occasionally he gets bitten, but he's he's got a great technique. And if you listen to him, you learn a lot about human psychology too. I mean, he's really, really good. We got to get Rocky on, Ted.
No, we do, Mayor, but I'm going to give Ryan the honor of providing you with an update on the baseball game.
Yankees are up 5-2.
Whoa, that's big inning.
You're not supposed to pray to God for baseball games, but I did as a kid. But I did as a kid all the time, and the Yankees always won. So I thought I might go back to it.
I love that. I love when he's win.
So I think I know I had Roger Stone on earlier, and I asked Roger because I'm in a state of suspended animation about the election. Every bit of academic and practical knowledge I have tells me that Trump is going to win. Every bit of analysis that I would do objectively. But then I lived through what they did to us in 2020 when I also knew we won. And I just keep racking my brain. What are they going to do? I know they're going to do something. I mean, they're capable of anything. When they did what they did with Russian collusion, even before we get to hiding the hard drive and all the other things they did, it proves they could do anything because they paid money to frame a man for something he didn't do. And then they used all that false evidence, and they all knew it, to unseat a lawfully elected president. Now, if you can do that to your country, you're a traitor. You don't love this country. All of a sudden, a year ago, I went to him and I told him, Mr. President, my friend Bernie and your friend Bernie and I feel that they've done everything to you. They've indicted you and you get more popular. This has got to be frustrating the hell out of them. They may kill you. And I thought about it very hard before I went to him because I don't easily believe people can commit murder. But I looked at the lack of morality, how amoral they are. And I said, my God, they've done things in some ways that are worse than murder. The amount of money that Joe Biden has taken to sell out our country is obscene. To take money from China. Who the hell would take money from Red China? They killed 100 million people. I mean, I had an Arab give me $10 million for the widows and orphans of 9/11. And he wanted me to criticize Israeli foreign policy, and I stuck it up his ass. And he enjoyed that. I shouldn't have said that. I didn't do that. That was an expression. It was a joke, but we're not allowed to tell jokes. What I did do was not cash the check and blasted the living daylights out of the little princely. But you don't sell yourself for money. You don't. So tell me, have you voted yet, my dear? Welcome back.
Thank you, sir. So you can hear me better. So I voted this afternoon. In Palm Beach County.
You're good. Just don't push any of the buttons.
Sorry. So I voted this afternoon in Palm Beach County, and I waited less than 10 minutes. It was a very swift, easy, civil process.
Where did you vote? 'Cause I'll probably have to vote the same place.
I voted at the Boca Raton Library.
Okay. And it wasn't very crowded?
No,
Of course, the first couple of days were very crowded. People waited like an hour.
no, it wasn't crowded at all.
It's regularizing now.
Yes, and you can actually make an appointment to vote. And you can arrive within 15 minutes of your appointment and vote. And I voted.
I think we should also tell people if they're thinking about Florida, I think it ends before Election Day.
Indeed, it does.
I think it ends on a Friday or Saturday or something like that. Saturday?
Yes.
So Saturday. So don't count on Sunday, Monday. You're going to have to go vote on Tuesday then. So get your vote in now. When are we going to go, Ted? Tomorrow's a very busy day. Thursday?
What day is it, Mayor? We'll make some time. I do think we want to go sooner than later. I've always been under, if you can vote early and get it out of the way, get it when you can in case something comes up.
Yes.
Make sure that vote counts.
Tomorrow?
Can we do it tomorrow?
Or the next morning? One or
Okay.
the other.
All right.
And
We have War Room on Thursday at 11. That's a biggie because it'll be
Have
a
you-
reunion with Steve.
Have you made a decision on who you'll be voting for, Mayor?
Oh, no. As people know, I'm very open-minded. I'm enormously impressed with Kamala's inability to answer a question.
It almost is like
I think that really, she has to be very smart if she doesn't answer any questions.
It's like a guessing game.
Yeah, Kamala, are you going to end fracking? Oh, that's very intelligent.
You're asking a toddler a question. A toddler can answer a question quicker than she can.
Yeah. And who else do I have? Oh, I've got the Senate. Well, I got to vote for Scott. He's my friend. Senator Scott.
You helped. I
I helped him get elected one time. Yeah.
And Marco Rubio, I asked him in person. I see if I have that video. He credits you with helping him and taking it to Charlie Crist.
I was number 2 to endorse Marco Rubio when he first ran, and he was losing by 30 points.
And you know what? Some people have complained, and they're constant complainers about when they vote. And I'm just like, maybe it's you that's the issue, and not the
Because they have to
voting
wait a little, or
other party, the other side. And I'm just like, maybe it's you that's the issue. Every time you vote, it's an issue because maybe you don't want the other side to win. Creating chaos. But
the only time I ever had trouble voting was in 2020. And I voted early, and I voted in New York. And they had switched my registration completely without my consent. And my registration was all screwed up. And I had to vote with a provisional ballot, 2020. So I think they were practicing cheating. They knew they didn't have to cheat in New York, but they were just practicing screwing things up.
oh wow.
But they had me registered where was never my permanent residence.
Oh wow. Yeah, I just showed my ID and I said, do I need to show my voter's registration card? She said, no, you don't even need to do that. I have a mail-in ballot. I told her I shredded my mail-in ballot. She was like, that's great. We have a new system in Florida and everything is electronic. And the actual ballot when you vote is electronic. And you just press the button for the candidate for whom you're voting. And then it prints it out when you're finished. And you review it to make sure it's accurate. And
Then you put it in the machine.
you put it in the machine.
And we trust the machine.
Yeah, you trust the machine. So Not going to be any
I
little,
trust the machine.
yeah. And then you pick up your stickers and that's it. And so it was just a very swift process and it was very peaceful. There was no
Florida straightened out its voting problems. I mean, one of the things I would credit Governor DeSantis for is he really, even more. Governor Scott was a good governor too. Did a lot of good things. Governor Bush was a good governor. So Governor DeSantis gets a lot of credit for a great state. Some of it he owes to his predecessors, but some of it is his. Like he's the one who really straightened out the voting. Even as late as Governor Scott, they were constantly cheating in Palm Beach and in Broward County. They were the fallback counties. So if you had but they'd only cheat in close elections. They wouldn't cheat in every election. So if you had a 2-point election in this state, Broward and Palm Beach took 10 days to get the vote in. If it was a 4-point election, over, we can't cheat. You can't make up that many votes without getting caught. That went on for years. Always went on for years. DeSantis fixed it. And I knew we were going to win Florida in 20 when DeSantis became governor.
Well,
So
thank God.
we've
that
got about
it's
5 minutes
great.
left. Allison and Michael.
So as we close down, Mayor, the Yankees are up at last check.
What number?
Are we still at the same score, Ryan? 4th inning. Top of the 4th. Bottom of the 4th. 5-2 Yankees.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Let me remind people while we're doing this that Steve Bannon is out of jail. That means we surely will win. No one understands the Trump electorate better than Steve Bannon or speaks to them with more authority but Trump. The votes are looking really good, like you said, for Republicans and Democrats. We're getting a lot of Republicans and Democrats. We're getting a lot of Republicans out. And Allison,
Hi, Mr. Giuliani.
what do you got to say?
Well, I'm considerably older than these other young ladies you've had on this evening,
You're
and
not older than me, though.
slightly younger.
So
something-
don't start pulling rank.
You really let me, you really made me take a stroll down memory lane because you brought up the Mariel boat lift, and I don't think people in America today think all that much about it. For me, it's very personable.
Yeah, they do. I mean,
It
used to be very famous when they had the movie Scarface.
Yeah.
Remember Al Pacino played the.
I don't know if you remember when my cousin was involved in a shooting and his partner was killed undercover. It's a very personal event for me. Everybody was shot. Then another ATF agent was shot. People do not understand the amount of violence that was imported into this country by those democratic policies. And it took us, I'd say 10, 15, 20 years to recover from that.
It did.
Do we want to go down that path again?
Oh, and it's.
I mean, why are we bringing it?
But Allison, this is the Mariel boat lift was nothing compared to this.
Nothing. The violence is
25,000 people.
It is unbridled.
15 million people.
Yeah, and listen, you know the levels of law enforcement at the federal level with whom I've worked, and in the intelligence community. I know I'm a very good investigator. I know about EROs. I know about Title 42. These things have got to be reinstated. This is
They will be.
And you also bring up terror illicit finance and the pallets of cash that went into Iran. I think Derek Maltz was on your show about 4 years ago trying to remind people. Derek Maltz, who was a
Yes. I see. He's still.
reminded people of Project Cassandra. Project Cassandra had direct connectivity to car dealerships, used car dealerships, that the Drug Enforcement Administration was very successfully investigating and solving great cases. It was shut down.
By whom?
The Obama administration, because had it not been
By Holder.
Yeah, by Eric Holder, who, by the way, is still in contempt of Congress, and he has never seen the inside of a holding cell.
Let me write that down.
Oh, yeah. So, and
maybe that's the first thing you remind the new Attorney General.
Eric Holder is pure evil, and I think you know me well personally for a long time. I have a very fine line between good and evil. And once you're into evil, there's no going back. And we just cannot take this step back with Harris as the president. It cannot happen. I don't care if you don't like Donald Trump. Everybody has to like him.
I thought you were going to say nobody likes him.
I mean, I've been personally, I have wanted him. I remember walking down Fifth Avenue one day. I was about 13 years old, and I said, "This guy gets shit done.
Yeah.
Look, he finished the ice rink under budget and ahead of schedule. He should be the president."
Well, do you know how he became a really big political supporter? Because he and Ed Koch had a falling out because he wanted Koch to name the rink after him. And Koch got very huffy about it.
Yeah.
And Koch called him arrogant. Well, you don't call Donald Trump arrogant. He then organized an entire effort to get Koch out of office. And I was at the key of it. I was going to be the one to run against him. But then unfortunately, I ran against David Dinkins and lost. But then I won 4 years later. But he never stopped supporting me. When it's real simple. If you're his friend, you're his friend. And wow. And the thing about a racist, anti-Semitic, and there's no, I've known him for 39 years.
I know
He's got friends of every kind.
I know his Jewish daughter.
Every kind.
I mean, he has family members that are Jewish.
Yes, but he's just as familiar. We would go to baseball games with people of different races, different religions, different backgrounds. Like,
yeah, he became a racist the day he rode down the escalator. But a year before
a year before he was a darling in the media.
Yeah. Oh, they liked him just fine.
He was a
until
darling
he
in the
started
media.
running. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And Ashley, am I wrong? Are you a former Democrat or am I wrong
We're
on
going
that?
to have to get off in about 5 minutes.
Yep.
Real quick.
Just a minute left. So let's give some closing thoughts and then we'll get Michael on and call it a night.
So technically, I was a former Democrat where I was registered as a Democrat in New Jersey. I kind of grew up in politics. My dad was the mayor of our town basically for my entire life.
What town?
Freehold, New Jersey.
Oh, Freehold's a big town, right?
Yes. So, he was that old school Democrat, the Kennedy, like hippie
Right.
type, just wants everyone to have peace. And it's completely different than the Democrat platform that is going on today. The extreme leftist, Marxist agenda they have. It's basically like a brainwashing cult where the people they just believe all the propaganda on the media, and like someone mentioned earlier, they are the party of hypocrisy, and basically whatever they tell you, you're better off doing the opposite. Same as the scandemic, correct? Yeah, same as the scandemic. Like, they're trying to tell you to do all these things that are good for you. But really, as a nurse, I witnessed firsthand how harmful.
We're going to have to stop.
Oh, sorry.
We have one more.
Yep.
Okay.
Let's give him the microphone.
Actually,
No. We just have it. We ran out of time. Let's give our last guest. Let's give our last guest.
So thank you guys for being with us.
Yeah. Thank you.
And we'll have you
Thank
guys
you.
back on.
Thanks a lot.
We want to get to our friend Michael. We're gonna have our friend Michael over here.
Nope.
Well, tomorrow we'll get you up to date on the House races, see where we stand with the House races, and we'll also, of course, we'll always keep our eye on the presidential race. I mean, that's obviously the key, but it is really, really important, not just extra, that Trump have the House and Senate. If he has the Senate, he can get a cabinet confirmed, justices confirmed. If he has the House, they won't be bothering him with impeachments constantly. So just think of the difference that'll be. Okay.
Michael.
Rudy, how are you?
The last time I was here with Steve Bannon.
That's right.
That was an interesting night.
Yeah.
Fun night.
Pretty soon we'll have him back. I can't wait.
So question, a legal question. This, the whole issue with affirmed illegal voters in Virginia. These people have come out and said they're not citizens, but yet a judge has determined that they have to be put back on the voter rolls. So my question is this: couldn't Youngkin send them a letter and say, it's a federal offense to vote in an election that you're not qualified to vote in. You've already stated that you're not a citizen. If you vote, we will charge you, because the states run the elections. We will charge you with a voter violation. You will be prosecuted and you will leave the country.
That would be in the face of a federal judge ordering them back on the rolls, correct?
Well, they have. The federal judge has, and it went to appeal in Virginia. And
A very interesting
they
question.
didn't take up the
Let,
appeal.
let me tell you the safest thing if I were advising the governor. He would be allowed to do that for all of the races on the ballot, but one, the presidential race. Because the qualifications for the presidential race are set by the state legislature. And if they don't have a law prohibiting citizens from voting, then
Illegal citizens?
well, they would have to have a specific law that said that you have to be a citizen in order to vote. I don't know the Constitution of Virginia. Now, New York has a provision. You have to be a citizen of the United States to vote in New York. So I don't understand for the life of me how this judge is doing this. I don't understand the legality of it.
Well, it's not going to be determined in any appeal before the election. So that's why I'm
Well, I
wondering.
don't see why not. I don't see why a court, I mean, it's so easy to decide. I could decide this just reading the papers.
Rudy, do you think fair verdicts come out of judges?
Well, it's the federal court, right?
No.
It's a state court.
And that's why it's going to be appealed to the state appellate court. And so it seems to me, and it would be logical that they would have a provision that said only Virginia citizens can vote in elections. And on that basis, he could send a letter saying, you're not allowed, you've already defaulted out. And so if you,
well, I try to settle the case this way. I would say they should all vote. Their vote should be put aside, and then we should argue it after the election, so we get a real constitutional ruling. Their votes shouldn't be opened. Just put aside in a lockbox. However many of them vote. Put it in the lockbox, and then we go to court and we argue. How the hell is it that non-citizens can vote? Because eventually the answer will be they cannot vote. But if you rush it through now, who knows? So I don't see why there wouldn't be agreement to let them vote, put it in a box, and then let's argue it and make a rational decision. There's only one rational decision. An illegal alien non-citizen cannot vote.
who's already attested to be a non-citizen.
Right.
So there's no disputing that.
That's almost as crazy, but not quite as crazy as the law in California, where it's a crime to ask for identification. I don't know. Does that extend to airplane travel? So if they ask for my identification when I fly somewhere, I can get them arrested?
That's a very. Let's dig into that tomorrow, Mayor. But before we go, we want to make sure we highlight what I know you consider our most important sponsor, and I feel weird. It's not even a sponsor. This is obviously an organization you were a part of starting, and of course, that's Tunnel to Towers.
Well, I want to make sure that all of you, and this is the time to do it when we're thinking about patriotism, we're thinking about the country, we're thinking about what we're trying to accomplish, to make your $11 a month contribution to the Tunnel to Towers, T2T.org. Tunnel to Towers is an organization where the money goes to take care of what we truly can say, without the slightest bit of exaggeration, are our most important heroes and our most important citizens, the ones who put their lives and bodies at risk to protect us. So Tunnel to Towers began taking care of the families of the 9/11 heroes because the Silla family lost their youngest brother, who ran to the tower while others ran away, firefighter, to save people. As a result of that, they started a run. They started an organization called the Tunnel to Towers, and they raised millions and millions to take care of the family of those who were hurt by lost their loved ones on September 11. They extended it then to those who died based on illnesses contracted during September 11. And then when they had satisfied all of that, they made a decision that was really critical. They decided to extend it to our military, the people who were carrying on the war to protect us against Islamic extremist terrorism. So the same benefits they gave to the 9/11 people, they gave to them, including paying off the mortgage in their homes. And then with regard to those who died buying homes for the family, and for those who were catastrophically injured, and this is really one of the unique things that they do, building smart homes so that someone who is catastrophically injured and can't use their arms, their legs, has a maximum amount of independence. And now they are dedicating themselves to do away with veterans' homelessness. So this is a big, big mission. They're up to it. They just keep growing and growing and growing. They have tremendous support. So $11 a month, tunnel to towers. I'm telling you, you're doing God's work. Let's get it done now that we're thinking about government and politics and everything else, because this is the part we can all agree on. So let's pray for the people that are at war, people that wouldn't be at war if Donald Trump had been elected or reelected, or we hadn't had the fraud of 2020. The people of Ukraine who'd be alive, the people of Israel who'd be alive, even their enemies, Russia and Hamas, all dead only because we have this thing in the White House. And let's pray, of course, for the people of Iran, who many of whom are victims of this maniacal religious leader that we finance. And let's pray that our American people have the wisdom that we've had and shown at times of crisis before, because we are in one of our great crises. Oh my goodness, you wouldn't be exaggerating if you equated it to Valley Forge or the Civil War or World War II. We're going to go one way or the other, and the other is the America that you know will be gone if it isn't gone already. You want to reestablish it? Vote for Donald Trump. Get a lot of other people to vote for him. And don't sit back and say, what can I do? You can sit down with a piece of paper and you can write out all the people you know, and you can call them up and you can tell them to vote for Donald Trump. And you can help them do it. And then when you do 10, you can do 20 and 30 and 40, and you can tell them to do it. Don't wake up the morning after feeling there was something you could have done, because your children's future, your future, our future depends on it. This is no joke. This is no ordinary time. It's a time of tremendous crisis. In so many ways, it's impossible to describe, even with 50 hours of broadcasting or a 1,000-page book. But you feel it. You know it. So, God bless America.
Bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze,